people who declined a proposal. Why did you do it? I was 16 and not pregnant. He said I could go to college later if I still wanted to after we had kids. We were on the verge of a breakup when he asked. We'd been having problems for a few years. His idiot friend told him it was a good idea to propose and that it would make everything magically better. I told him no. We broke up and I moved away for a while. As they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It was true in our case. We were able to work things out. I moved back and 2 years later, we got married. We've been together for 24 years. Have 2 daughters and 1 grandchild. Because we had been dating for a week, I proposed to my boyfriend of 3 years. He told me he loved me but just wasn't ready because his parents had a really bad marriage and, frankly, he didn't know if he could ever get married. I cried my eyes out and he held me but he was gently adamant. I accepted after a while that we wouldn't get married and to be happy that we were together and loved each other. 2 years later he proposed to me. Married 12 years so far. I thought my ex had anger management issues, and I didn't get along with his mother. He was too attached to her. He later became a violent alcoholic. Years after we broke up, he also stole quite a bit of money from me to give to his mother for bills. I was not aware of this until months after the fact. I feel like I dodged a huge bullet there. My mum had been dating a guy for a few weeks after his wife had just died from cancer. His daughter was at college and he was paying for her education, boarding, food. I had just turned 18 and started paying my mum rent money. He proposed but said that I needed to move out because he didn't like me and thought that I was a freeloader. My mum told him that she loved me more than him and that he could shove his dead wife's ring up his arse and left him askew. He literally only proposed because I caught him cheating. He thought I would say yes. OMG, of course. I forgive you. Please continue to cheat on me after we both sign a legally binding contract. Dude was dumb. He asked me randomly when on a night out when we weren't even dating. Just friends. I thought he was joking but then he came over the next day to ask what my feelings were. I had to say I didn't think of him that way and it was awkward for a while. He was that weird stoner patron that came in just to talk to me even though I wasn't interested. He told me he was the heir to the Commonwealth and should be king after Elizabeth dies, because he had the 3 out of the emblems of the United Kingdom. And once he got the 4th it would secure his position. He would also make airplane noises when I had my attention turned to other tasks. That's a no, Jason. Got asked in college by a close female friend. We weren't dating. I hadn't ever felt an attraction to her, and I knew she just wanted a husband more than she wanted me. The actual person. 100% yikes. I was scared and selfish. As a veteran, they were suffering from severe PTSD, had already attempted suicide, and were using drugs to self-medicate. As much as I loved and adored him, and still do, I knew there were things I wanted for myself and it wouldn't be possible if I had to be the caretaker all the time. If I had said yes, I would be a widow now. I know I did the right thing for me but I don't feel like I did right by them, monsieur. I wish I could have been stronger. My mother was engaged to a man while she was in college. The wedding plans were well underway and as the wedding got closer, her fiancé started acting super clingy and possessive. She called it off a few months before getting married. He has lived locally their whole lives so she's run into him a few times. Apparently he's the super jealous type who doesn't let his wives have male friends, and he has been married 3 times. My mom definitely dodged a bullet. I was fresh out of high school and dating a guy in the military that I went to school with. We had been dating about 3 months when he proposed. He was nice, and I could have seen a future with him, but 3 months was just too soon for me. Even though we had been friends for quite some time, I told him I wasn't ready and he never spoke to me again. There was a guy who proposed his co-worker in the middle of their shift. The girl shouted something rude and walked away. A few minutes go by and the girl comes back with a smile on her face and #X200B. That day I realized that a pair of twins worked at my workplace. That day I witnessed that a guy proposed her girlfriend's twin by accident. Edit. The twins look the exact same. You can't tell which one is which if you see them next to each other. Before this happened, I worked at that branch for 2 years thinking it's just one person. I was kind of embarrassed, but not as embarrassed as the specimen mentioned earlier. Well, he proposed as I was breaking up with him, which was awkward, and for some reason he thought it would make me change my mind. Also, he had threatened to kill my family the day before, hence the breakup. So there's that. Edit. Thanks for the kind words, everyone. At the time, this was my first relationship and I was very naive. I was 19 and he was 20, and we had dated for roughly 5 to 6 months. I'm now in a very happy, stable, and healthy relationship. It was our first date. He showed up drunk and called me somebody else's name. I was in my first few years of teaching and one of my 9-year-old students brought his sister's play ring to school, got down on one knee when the class was on the field, and he proposed to me. It was very sweet. I declined, saying that he was a little young for me. When he asked, my future flashed in front of me and I hated it. He was a good guy and I did love him, but we wanted different things. We had been together for many years, but the proposal was still a surprise. I think he proposed to try and save a sinking relationship. I'm on the opposite side of this story, but it's still a good one. This was years ago. My girlfriend and I were at a friend's wedding, and I got caught up in the romanticism of it and wound up blurting out a proposal at the reception. She said no, and explained that this wasn't the memory of a proposal that she wanted. It felt tacky to tie this important moment to someone else's special day, and she told me to ask her again later, in a different setting. Literally 5 minutes later, they announced that the bride was going to throw the bouquet. All the girls lined up. It went into the air and sailed straight into my girlfriend's arms. She laughed, turned to me, and said, "That moment is pretty good. Okay, I guess we're engaged." Gorgeous 19-year-old girl I worked with. We had been a little flirtatious with each other but were just close work friends. I was under 25. She got knocked up by a guy she wasn't dating seriously. She was opposed to her abortion, so was planning to keep the baby but wanted to end it with that guy. She took me aside and slowly and seriously proposed marriage with me. Her rationale being that we loved each other even though we were just friends, and that I would be a wonderful father, so we should give it a shot. She was sincere, but seeing as her proposal was insane, though oddly tempting, I said no. She married the father of her child shortly after. They're still married, going on 20 years now. Only one child. So I suppose I said no because I was a young man and that wasn't my child. I do wonder what would have happened if I'd said yes. But that would have been insane, right? Edit. Since people are asking, I am very happily married with one child. I could probably say that there are a couple women in my past that I wonder if I should have married. This girl is not one of them, monsieur. I wouldn't change a thing about my life now. I love my family and have no regrets. No, I don't secretly wish I had married this girl.